How's it going, guys? Haven't made one of these in a while because, you know, the Yu-Gi-Oh episodes hadn't been out for a week or two. It was due to something to do with TV Tokyo and the subtitling or something. But the source that I watched it on recently, the quality wasn't brilliant, but it doesn't matter because one of the two episodes was actually really, really good. And I really enjoyed it. So first up, episode 122. So this was something that was touched upon in the last episode, where Yuri kept seeing something in BB that he saw in himself, and I didn't actually understand at all what he saw in him that he didn't see in himself. And apparently it's his fear, or something like that, or he's trying to hide something about himself. As, like, Yuri goes on that analogy where he's like, oh, you hide in your little fortress thing because you're trying to protect yourself from the world kind of thing, and for me, I use my goggles to hide my shame and things like this. So that was his reasoning, and it's pretty good that we got to sort of loop back and get to know a bit more about his goggles that we kind of knew already, but we hadn't touched upon it in a very long time, which I guess, what's the point? He hasn't used it in a long time, but yeah, it fitted, I guess. So BB's fear turns out to be the fear of death, I think, since the like instructor guy, he's been telling everyone to sort of like duel. This is like the violence of dueling. You need to be prepared because if you lose, you die kind of thing, or carded in this world. So that's what BB's fear is. And so when the instructor loses, all of the like students are all like, card him. Card him. He would want to be carded because this is the will of the instructor. This is the harshness of battle. And I thought the instructor was going to bitch out. I'm like, no, don't card me. And then that would like sort of change everyone's minds. But the instructor sticks to his guns, which, yeah, okay. And it is this fear of death which allows BB to attack Yuya. And he doesn't actually card the instructor either, which I thought was weird, because he could have just done it right there and then. Anyway, in this duel, we get to see Jack do some awesome plays. He brings out that Tyrant Demon's Dragon out, which was awesome. And it's really nice to have that monster on our side this time, rather than having Yuya fight against it. Because that ability, which destroys everything on the field, that just wiped everything out. And it looked really cool the way he did it. Even destroyed some of Yuya's monsters, but luckily they were pendulum ones, so they went to the extra deck. So it was fine. In all honesty, like, I quite like the Gladiator Beast deck as well. And BB had a potential to be an interesting character. I didn't like his design that much. I didn't really understand why he had all the face paint and why he was naked like most of the time. But if this had been a reoccurring character, if the gang kept getting attacked by him, and every time they'd like sort of just about narrowly escaped, and then this was the point now where like the resolution of this comes from, and we'd had this built up, then this could have been a really, really good episode. Because the fight was really well executed, the way like he went inside the tank and the way they sort of made the canvas come on and everything. But I think because it was sort of shoehorned in, it's like, oh, this person has just appeared and he's just defeated some of the main characters, and this. So you sort of like, you don't care, really. I mean, that's the biggest problem with this series of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a very long series that appears to have been cut down a little bit short. So, for example, do you guys remember Barrett? That guy that like came and grabbed, I think it was Selena, or it was Yuzu or something. Now, when was the last time you saw him? Because he sort of appeared and then disappeared. And there's a lot of characters like that they get the screen time and then they're just gone. So, if I had to make one big criticism of this series, it's the fact that character development for the rest of the cast, there's too many of them, and if they do get a bit of character development, it's too small. So, yeah, that's my only problems with Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. Speaking of that field spell, that, like, Splatoon field spell, it turned, like, the entire match into, like, a white canvas, and everyone had, like, these paintball guns that was all shooting everywhere, so, like, paint went everywhere. That was pretty cool, so I quite liked that. That was, like, an interesting way of sort of making that fun with his entertainment-style dueling. However, you did that thing again, where he says, listen, after this duel, you can duel however you want to duel. You can be yourself, as long as it's like my dueling. So like a great comparison with this is probably like, obviously I'll talk about it more in the next episode review, which is coming in a sec, but obviously Yuri likes to duel to trap people in cards because that's what he finds fun. That's his own entertainment style dueling to himself. So if you asked Yuya, that's his way of dueling, is that right? He's going to say, no, that's not right, that's bad for other people. So that's kind of like he's forcing his will on people again. But this is the last time I'm going to mention Yuya forcing entertainment style dueling onto other people, because even though it's quite nice, maybe not everyone wants to duel that way, and that's the last time I'm going to talk about it because it ruins the theme of the show if I do that. And the end result is BB gets swayed and he becomes a good guy, I guess. The instructor is the only one that doesn't get swayed. All the people that were watching that were very, very into what the professor was doing all change sides, I guess, and they enjoy the entertainment-style dueling, which is, again, you know, a little bit of a problem. But one of the people says he's going to help Yuri go find Yuzu. Turns out he's got one of the little parasites in his head, so he's actually probably leading him to maybe the Professor, which would be interesting, so I'd like to see that whenever that happens. But, yeah, that was pretty much the episode 122, so how about we move on to the more exciting episode 123. How could Yusho confuse Yuri with Yugioh? Like, I know this is something that's, like, gone out through, like, the entire series, but, like, they don't look anything alike. They don't even act alike. And he's in bloody academia-style thingy. I can't remember, has Yusho met any of the other Yugioh clones or something? But never mind, that's ignore that. Someone asked me before who my favourite characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 were. And my top 3, I think, were Yugioh, Yuri, and Kurosaki. And the reason I like Yuri so much is his commitment to his goal. And especially in this episode, we see that he is the biggest troll ever. But he's like the good kind of troll, because everything he does in that duel is absolute, like, comedy gold. So the first thing he does, he uses one of the decks that he's never had any experience with, and he slips in a card, which we'll talk about a bit later. And he's dueling Alexis, so we got Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 versus Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and we get to see who's the better duelist. We learn that Alexis, the reason she uses a ritual-style deck is because she's abandoned Fusion, because she doesn't believe it anymore, and the way she sort of pushes this onto Yuri is by using the card that, like, banishes all fusion cards from Yuri's deck, which we believe annoys him quite a bit to the point that he falls to his knees. But this is, we learn, all an act. I'd have to say, it was honestly the best moment ever when Yuri draws his hand and he's like, hold on a sec, let me just read these effects, I have no idea what they do. And he's sort of reading for his like, oh, activate this, and then that means I can activate this, I guess. And I was like, that was brilliant. That was awesome. And he's like, is this a good play? Yeah, this is quite a good play. I think that's quite good. And he summons that monster, Reactor Dragon, which was pretty awesome. It had the effect of one of the gadgets, which allowed it to do attack twice, and its other effect was allowed it to do piercing damage, much like most of the Ancient Gear monsters. There's a great transition in this duel as well, where Yuri's telling Alexis to hurry up so he can end, so he's going, hurry up, hurry up. And then it cuts to, like, all the other Yuyas, and they're all, like, running to where they're supposed to be. And that was quite cool. So this kind of, maybe this is everyone closing in together? Could be. And it was also brilliant how he was saying how evil Alexis was for getting rid of all of his polymerization cards and stopping him from fusion summoning everything. And it's like, you can talk, can't you, Yuri? A little part of me really wanted Yuri to use Power Bond, because when I saw the polymerization cards get, like, banished, and I knew he was playing a machine deck, I was like, please bring out Power Bond, because the name of this episode was like the Ultimate Machine Dragon or something. And for a split second, I thought this was going to be Zane Truesdale's appearance in the series, which I imagine not everybody would want, but Zane Truesdale is my favourite character from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, and I would have absolutely loved it to see that. But seeing super polymerization in this episode, I thought was just as good, because super polymerization was built up really big in the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX series. It was like the ultimate evil corrupt card that was only created by the sacrificing of all these people in the alternate dimension by the Supreme King. And in the end, it was used to, for good, I imagine, with fusing Yuya and Jaden's souls together. So seeing it in this as like a commonplace card, but I guess it is a rare card, was awesome, because it allowed him to win the duel. Plus it stopped the polymerization card from being negated as well. And before Yuri defeated Alexis, she did try to find the humanity within him. And she said, you know, you don't have to be like this, you can escape academia if you want to. And then Yuri sort of gives a little bit of backstory about how he was younger, how he used to beat the shit out of everyone in duels, and he used to love winning. And then everyone kind of like hated him because he was power hungry and he wanted to defeat everyone. So at this point, people normally say, so I decided to hate the world. No, Yuri just kind of ran with it, and he was like, I decided to join the Professor because he came and found me, and now I'm going to card everyone. My goal is to card everyone in every universe. So that's Yuri's amazing goal. And even the Professor, like, it cuts to him, and he's like, what the fuck is this kid on? So even the Professor doesn't agree with what Yuri's goals are. And this fits with my theme that the Professor might not be evil, even though he does evil things. I think he has a good intention in the end, which I don't know what it is. I still think there's a greater evil somewhere, which could be lurking within Yuri, because we see that shot with like the purple like darkness thing that's like hovers above him. And I don't know if that was meant to be symbolic or it was like an actual entity, but that'll be something that could be interesting to see later on. And we also saw him with the purple glowing eyes, which I don't know if that was symbolic as well. or if that was to do with when all the Yuyos were together before. So Yuri gets out his final card, which was, just give me 1 second, there's my Yu-Gi-Oh binder. We're just going to search through here for the card I'm looking for. Aha, here it is. Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. So with this card, he was able to defeat Alexis Rhodes. So, yeah, pretty powerful card. However, if we're considering all ultimate machine type monsters, then this would be the ultimate dragon in my opinion. Chimera Tech Over Dragon. Pretty awesome. Then again, there's nothing wrong with Cyber Twin Dragon and Cyber Dark Dragon. But yeah, overall, episode 123 I thought was the better episode because more shit got done. We got to see more Yuri. More Yuri is good in anyone's books, if you had to ask me. And unfortunately, Alexis did get carded, but we do get to see Yuri versus Sora in the next episode, I hope. I hope nothing interferes that because that can be a really good duel. Who do I think is going to win? Probably going to be Yuri. I'm sorry, Sora. Unless it gets interrupted, we'll have to see. So, yeah. So I want to say thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on what's going to happen in the rest of this episode? Do you think Yuri is the ultimate bad guy? It's going to be at the end of the series. Do you think the Professor is going to be the ultimate bad guy? Or do you believe that Seto Kaiba is going to come out of nowhere and be the final villain? Some people think that's true. I don't. But there isn't been an original series character just yet, so it's possible. And also, before we end the review, this was my old phone. Smashed, cracked, destroyed. And what we have now is a brand new phone that isn't broke. It's so pretty. Nice. Right then, guys, so recently I subscribed to Loot Crate. Specifically, I subscribed to Loot Anime. They specialise in sending Loot Anime related stuff. And I thought that I'd do an unboxing for you guys and show you the kind of stuff I got. Unfortunately, I'm in the future, so I've already opened it all, so I know what I get. This is what the box looks like after you've turned it inside out. It's kind of like a treasure chest, which we're going to see a treasure